time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Sportsnet LA presents the Dodgers as they take on the New York Mets. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday to you, wherever you may be. Final game, the so-called rubber game. Mets won the first one 2-1. Dodgers came back to hang on and win 4-3 yesterday. Today, the pitching, Mike Bolsinger, with a record 4-2 on the mound for the Dodgers. And for the Mets, a rather interesting young pitcher, a left-hander by the name of Steven Matz out of Long Island. His family, great Mets fans. And in his debut against Cincinnati, he not only won, he not only went 7 2/3 innings, he went 3 for 3 at the plate with 4 runs batted in. The last Mets pitcher to do that would be the great Dwight Gooden. As far as the two teams are concerned, the Mets are 4.5 games behind Washington, and for the Dodgers, despite the fact they're not playing very well, they're 4 games in front of San Francisco. Even though the Dodgers are playing only .500 ball for the last 36 games, the Giants have obliged by losing 5 in a row, putting Tim Lincecum and Tim Hudson on the DL. So the stage is set for this one. Dodgers then awaiting another weak scoring ball club, and that would be the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll be here for 4. So that'll be that. Pull up a chair. Good ball game coming up, and a whole lot more right after this. Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Disneyland. Get ready to be dazzled during the Disneyland Resort Diamond Celebration happening now with spectacular new entertainment and more. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Sunday afternoon to you wherever you may be. Hope you are enjoying a happy, safe, and sane holiday weekend. And welcome to the final game of the three-game series with Terry Collins' New York Mets. The Mets have been struggling. They've lost 11 of the last 16. They're 4.5 games back of Washington, and they're trying to win their first road series since taking 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia back in the first week in May. Here's the lineup for Terry. Curtis Granderson in right field and Daniel Murphy at third. It'll be Lucas Duda at first base and Wilmer Flores at second. Mike Kodaya, who's been out with a bad knee, almost went on the DL, but he's back to start. A former National League batting champion. Mike will be in left field. Johnny Monell is the catcher. Ruben Tejada the shortstop. And since he went 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs in his major league debut, the pitcher Steven Matz bats 8th. And the center fielder Juan Lagares bats 9th. On the mound for the Dodgers, Mike Bolsinger. Bolsinger with a record of 4-2. However, things have changed a bit for him. He was 3-1 his first 5 starts, and he is 1-1 in his last 6 starts, and a big difference in the earned run average. First pitch of the left-hand hitting Curtis Granderson is taken for a strike, and we're underway. Right side of the infield loading up on Granderson. Curtis hitting .251, but he's been a pretty hot hitter for over a week, batting .310. Takes a pitch high and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles. The temperature a very comfortable 73 degrees. Bolsinger on the first base side of the rubber, the right-hander over the top, and a fastball is hit foul outside of first and on down the line. Bolsinger's fastball around 89, maybe once in a while push it to 90. Throws a lot of breaking balls, and if he's on his game, he will get a lot of ground balls. He's the 4th ground ball rate pitcher in the league. The next pitch, a little ground ball, an impossible play for Hernandez with the shift on. No way that Kike could come in and handle a ground ball. Though the ground ball to the shortstop side with Turner, the third baseman, playing short because they had moved Hernandez over to the other side of the bag, and there was just no chance Justin could make a play. So Granderson gets the infield single. The Dodgers pay the price of loading up the right side, and the batter is Daniel Murphy. We were talking about Bolsinger and ground balls as Daniel Murphy checks in, hitting .279 and a little more than 300 against the Dodgers. The pitch to Daniel fouled away, and the count 0-1. Of course, for Daniel Murphy playing third base, he is replacing David Wright. And although .301 against the Dodgers sounds good, David Wright in his career against the Dodgers hit .365. 0-1 the count to Murphy. Granderson, who has stolen 5 bases, cautious lead at first. Bolsinger out of a stretch. Infield back to normal. And now Bolsinger backs off the rubber. Brett Anderson is the #1 ground ball pitcher in the league. Tyson Ross, then Tim Hudson, and then it would be Mike Bolsinger. Granderson has stolen 5 of 7. The pitch is swung on a little flare that's going to drop into right center for a base hit. Peterson gets it back, but Granderson goes to third. So a little ground ball to the left side that went for a hit because of the overshift. Now a fly ball single, and all of a sudden Bolsinger in a jam. We'll take the Dodgers defensively with the leather, and it's Gonzalez and Kendrick, Hernandez and Turner, Van Slyke, Peterson and Puig, and the battery of Bolsinger and Ellis. So Lucas Duda coming up with runners at first and third. Lucas had 4 home runs against the Dodgers last year, 3 in 1 game. This series 2 for 8, 2 doubles, 1 RBI. He has 10 home runs for the year, and Duda takes off the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. The first 48 games of the year, Duda had 9 home runs, 24 runs batted in. But in the last 31 games, he has just 1 home run and 10 runs batted in. Next pitch, missed in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Duda last year against right-hand pitching had 28 home runs. So the big guy who went to school at USC. The shift is on. Turner all alone on the left side, and Duda in and out of the box. So Bolsinger gives up a little dribbler for a base hit, hop fly single for another, and now the heart of the lineup, Duda, Flores, and Kadire. Duda promptly hits a line drive caught by Hendrick in the hole. That's a base hit except for the loaded up right side. So Duda hits it hard but lines out to Kendrick, and 1 away. So the strategy didn't work with the leadoff man Granderson, but it certainly paid off on that line drive by Duda. So Wilmer Flores, the shortstop, checking in. Flores hitting .248. He has some sock with 10 home runs. So Kendrick perfectly in position to handle that line drive. 2 on, 1 out, no score, and Flores checks in. The next pitch to Flores, and that misses for ball 1. You know, when you look at the Mets and their road record, they're 12 wins, 27 losses. Their big problem for Terry Collins is the night game. They are 5-23 at night, but 7-4 in the daytime. 1-0 pitch on the way, a high drive going foul way down the left field line. That winds up in the second level. 1 ball and 1 strike to Wilmer Flores. For the Mets, really struggling offensively in their last 5 games, they've managed to score 6 runs. Team batting average 185. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way. Breaking ball, half swing for a strike on a slider, and the count 1-2. In the last 16 games, the Mets have averaged less than 2 runs a game, with an overall batting average of 183. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Out of a stretch goes Bolsinger, comes back over the top, and it's going to go into right field for a base hit. The run will score, brought in by Granderson. Down to second goes Murphy, and it's 1-0 New York. And Mike Kadire, a National League batting champion, coming up. So one reason this game can really drive you crazy is the ball hit by Duda, the line drive at Kendrick, the bleeder hit by Granderson, as they call the little ground ball, the fly ball single by Murphy, and now the off-speed pitch the other way to Flores. So the 1 ball that has really been hit was caught. And here is Kadire. Kadire, right-hand batter and a dandy when he is healthy, and he takes a strike. Kadire in and out of the lineup with a bad knee. He is 2 for his last 31. That's a batting average of less than 100. And Mike takes a strike. So he's in a hole now, 0-2. So Bolsinger trying to fight his way out of it. Kadire, who was the batting champion back in 2013, he hit .331 for the Rockies, takes a pitch low, ball 1. Mike, a veteran, originally a first-round pick by the Minnesota Twins way back in 1997. He's also hit for the cycle, so he's had a great career. 1-2 pitch on the way. Kadire fouls it away. Mike Kadire is a terrific guy on a ball club, and one of the many reasons, besides all of his ability to hit the ball, he is a great magician with cards. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kadire waiting with 2 on, 1 out, 1-0 Mets. Now the next pitch to Mike is chased and missed. Breaking ball down and away. So Kadire continues to slump. First strikeout for Bolsinger. And a new catcher, Johnny Monell, coming up.
Catcher number 19, Johnny Monell.
So Johnny Manel, first time that we have seen him in this series, he'll be handling the young left-hander, Steve Matz. Johnny Manel, originally drafted by the Giants out of Seminole, Florida Community College, but he was born in the Bronx. John, 29 years old, and the left-hand batter takes a hook low and inside, ball one, 1-0 the count. John's father, Johnny Sr., was an outfielder who worked his way up to AAA in the Mets system before continuing his career in Taiwan. Here's the 1-0 pitch. John swings, doesn't get it. His dad spent 17 years on 3 continents, including Mexico, Puerto Rico, besides Taiwan. So he's certainly got the baseball genes in him. Came up to the Giants briefly 2 years ago. 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on and missed. 1-2 the count. So Mike Bolsinger has given up 3 hits, a line drive out, and a strikeout. He's down 1-0, and as we mentioned, last 6 starts he's been struggling compared to the first 5. 1-2 the count. The next one in the dirt, blocked nicely by Ellis, and the count 2-2. The Mets have come a long way. In 1962, their first year, the Mets were 40 wins and 120 losses. And the next year, they lost 111 games. And believe it or not, they were world champions in 1969 when they won 100 games. 2-2 pitch is swung on, lifted to left field. Van Slyke comes in under it now and makes the catch for the out. So the Mets wind up getting 3 hits and 1 run. The one ball that was hit hard was caught. And at the end of half an inning, Mets 1, Dodgers coming up. Lead, and the Dodgers coming up in the bottom half. They are 7-8 against left-hand starters. So for Don Mattingly, he has some right-hand bats in there. Kike Hernandez at short, Howie Kendrick at second, Justin Turner at third, then the left-hander Gonzalez at first. Puig is in right, Van Slyke is in left, Peterson, the other left-hand batter, in center, Ellis behind the plate, and Bolsinger, the pitcher. On the mound, and he's already not a one-trick pony, but he's a one-pitch, one-game star in New York. Steven Matz, M-A-T-Z, born in Stony Brook, New York, lives out on the island. And Matz made his major league debut when 7 2/3 beat the Reds, went 3 for 3, and knocked in 4 runs. Fastball, high and away, ball 1, 1-0. So Hernandez leading off. Kike batting .269. The last couple of games, he's come up with 4 big hits. Swings, doesn't get it, and the count 1-1. So Hernandez followed by Kendrick and Turner. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Change, swung on and missed. That's a changeup that the young left-hander learned from a former left-hander in the big leagues with the Mets by the name of Frank Viola. But Matz, as we mentioned, is quite a story. He had Tommy John surgery in 2010 as he throws a fastball at 94. When he made his major league debut, I mean, number one, it's an agonizing time. But because of rain, he had to wait 3.5 hours before the game got underway. Ground ball to the hole by the diving Tejada into left field. So Kike Hernandez, a single to left field, and the batter will be Howie Kendrick. Howie Kendrick hitting .327 at home, .264 on the road. That gives him a .296 batting average. Here, he is a career .328 hitter. So Howie Kendrick, who caught that line drive by Duda in the first inning, big swing and a miss, and the count 0-1. By the way, it should be noted, the first pitch that Steven Matz made in his major league debut was a fastball for 96 miles an hour, went off the catcher's glove and hit the bricks at the backstop in Cincinnati. Brings up memories of Ryan Duran. Does that name ring a bell? Ryan Duran pitched for Baltimore, Kansas City, the Yankees, pitched briefly here with the Angels and the Phillies, and he would do that on purpose in his warm-ups. Kendrick fouls it away. Ryan had, well, they used to describe it as the bottom of a Coca-Cola bottle for eyeglasses, and he'd go to the mound, he'd throw in the 90s for 7 warm-up tosses, and the 8th toss he'd usually throw up onto the screen behind home plate. That really unnerved a lot of hitters. Here's the strike 2 pitch, and that's a fastball up and away. 1-2 the count. But of all the things that Steve Matz has already done in New York, he is a big celebrity because he has a sandwich named after him in a Long Island delicatessen. The pitch to Kendrick is swung on and missed, and down goes Howie, 1 away. What's the sandwich consist of? Well, we went to a lot of trouble. It's a chicken cutlet melted with jack and cheddar cheese. There's bacon, lettuce, tomato, topped with the pepper house dressing on a toasted top seller. I guess it would be a toasted bun of some kind, and it's a big seller in the delicatessen. And they said the last time he was in there, he had lunch, but he didn't have his sandwich. Maybe understandably so. Matz delivers, check swing, pitch in for a strike at 94, and the count 0-1. In his development as a pitcher, Matz started with a slider. He's given that up. Frank Viola had him throwing curveballs, so he's fastball, curveball pitcher. Turner ready, shies away from a high inside fastball at 95. Matz, like all young pitchers, Noah Syndergaard, who was so impressive the other night, tendency to rely on the fastball. But as they mature, they learn to spread it out a bit. 1-1 pitch on the way. That's a fastball around the knees at 95. 1-2 the count. You don't see left-handers throwing that hard very often, and especially one who's coming back from Tommy John surgery. 1-2. Instead of throw to first, back to the bag goes Hernandez. Dodgers have won 7 of the last 10, but over the stretch of 36 games, they've played 500, 18 wins, 18 losses, and they're still 4 in front of the Giants, who have lost 5 straight. Next one is swung on and missed, and that was a 94-mile-an-hour pitch up high. So 2 strikeouts, Kendrick and Turner. And the batter now will be Adrian Gonzalez. Here are the Mets. You have Duda and Flores, Tejada and Murphy, Cadile, Lagares and Granderson, Monell handling Matz. Adrian Gonzalez, one of the 2 left-hand batters in the lineup. Adrian with a home run yesterday, now has 15. His 2 hits in the series have been home runs, batting .291. And the first pitch off the plate. Fastball had a little late run to it. 1 ball and no strikes. 2 out first inning. Mets lead 1-0. Matt set at the belt. Left-hander ready and comes back. Fastball fouled away. So he's really staying with the fastball. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Adrian Gonzalez with 2 down. Hernandez at first, bottom of the first inning, and the Mets lead 1-0. Hernandez cautious lead. Matz looking right at him and goes over there. Matz has been a hot prospect, if you can say that, since his little league days. When he was 10 years old, there was an Expo scout who handed Matt's father his business card and said, "Stay in touch." The 1-1 pitch is high, ball 2. When Stephen was drafted in 2009, his father showed the scout the card he had been keeping through the years, and that scout eventually went to work for the New York Mets. 2-1 pitch, and that hits Gonzalez up around on the hands. So Adrian hit by the pitch after 2 strikeouts. And the Dodgers have first and second, and the batter will be Yasiel Puig. That pitch just runs in. He has a lot of late movement on his fastball. And Gonzalez tried to check, and I think it got a little bit of the left hand. That would be the bottom hand for a left-hand batter. So Gonzalez goes to first. For Adrian, that would be the 4th time this year. 3rd time this year that he's been hit by a pitch. So Gonzalez at first, checking that right hand. Yasiel Puig checking in. Puig hitting .287, 3 home runs, 10 runs batted in. 2 on, 2 out, first inning. Mets lead 1-0. Matt's ready. Steve delivers, and it's foul to the screen. And again, another 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Yasiel Puig, in some ways, trying to get on track. It's been a slow start for him. 0-1 the count. Matt's hand set at the belt. Left-hander ready. Back he comes. Breaking ball down and dirty in the dirt at 78. And a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Matt's, by the way, wearing number 32. It's not as impressive as wearing Koufax 32 here. But the 32 he wears, once worn by John Matlack, a very good pitcher. Straight changeup in for a strike. So Puig has gotten the whole store. He's gotten a fastball, he's got the curveball, and now a straight change, and the count 1-2. Matt's ready to make his 21st pitch, and the 1-2 fastball is fouled back. So from a change at 78 to a fastball at 95, and that's Steve Matz. Hernandez at second, Gonzalez at first, 2 out, 1-0 Mets in the first inning. Matz ready and delivers off speed, a chopper to short, quick play to second for the 4th, and that's that. No runs, 1 hit, and the Dodgers lead 2. And at the end of an inning, it's the Mets 1 and the Dodgers 0. The Dodgers and the Mets. Well, it has gone the Dodgers' way most of the time. They've won 14 of the 18. Even though the Dodgers have been struggling against other teams, they have certainly beaten up on New York in every possible area. So into the second inning we go, with the Mets leading 1-0. Mets scored in the first inning, which is news in New York. The last time they scored a run in the first inning of a game would be 8 games ago, back on the 26th of June. The first pitch for Bolsinger in for a strike, and the count 0-1. I can't help looking at the New York Mets, and because I was fortunate enough to be around in those wonderfully wacky days back in 1962. Strike one pitch is taken off the plate. The Mets were just absolutely born to mystify and delight. Not when this current group was there, but back in 1962 they were something. Here's the 1-1 pitch on the way, swung on and fouled back. The first scheduled game the New York Mets ever to play was in St. Louis, and rightfully so. They were rained out. The next day they finally started the year, and they lost 11-4 to the Cardinals. That's the first game ever played by the Mets. 1-2 pitch on the way, foul back. The first defensive play by the New York Mets in 1962, a ground ball to third base. Former Dodger Charlie Neal, who played second base here, was playing third for the Mets. He fielded the ball cleanly and then threw it into right field. Here's the 1-2 pitch coming up. Tejada waiting, and the shortstop swings late. It's a little fly ball, and Puig comes up to handle it, and we have one down. The first run that the Mets allowed was on a balk. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? It was a balk committed by another former Dodger, Roger Craig, who went on to lose 20 games that year. But when you think about it, you have to be an awfully good pitcher to be allowed to go out there and lose 20 games. Here's the batter, Steve Matz, who probably drives one to right. Puig, however, was playing him back and makes the catch for the out. Matz, a very good hitting pitcher, was also a good first baseman growing up. So 2 down. The first home game ever played by the New York Mets in 1962 was on Friday the 13th. I mean, everything about this club was remarkable. And when the New York Mets started the year in 1962, they began by losing 9 straight. I mean, but they were replacing the Giants and the Dodgers, and so they were hapless, but they were loved. They also lost every season series to every team except, altogether, the Chicago Cubs. They wound up splitting the 18 games with the Cubs. Anyway, that was the beginning of the New York Mets, with Casey Stengel as the skipper back in 1962 and world champions under Gil Hodges in 1969. Fly ball to center. Peterson poised, comes up a couple of steps, puts it away. So for Bolsinger, 3 fly balls and 3 out. And at the end of an inning and a half, it's 1-0 New York. That's bottom of the second inning. Scott Van Slyke, Jock Peterson, and then A.J. Ellis. By the way, Steve Matz in the first inning. The Dodgers swung and missed 7 times already. We say already because the high in the major leagues this year, swings and misses, 30 by Carlos Carrasco and the Indians. So Matt's going to work, and it'll be Van Slyke to test him. Scotty takes a pitch way off the plate, fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. A shift is on, but they don't load up. The second baseman Flores just gets closer to the bag and plays up the middle. And the next pitch off the plate, and a 2 ball, no strike count. Van Slyke, 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in, a changeup, but that's high, and a 3-0 count. Steve Matz grew up about an hour from Citi Field. He had some good coaching. 3-0 pitch, and that's off the plate. So staying with the fastball, he walks Van Slyke. He's also hit a batter, but he's leading 1-0. And the left-hand batter, Jock Peterson, coming up.
Number 31, Jock Peterson.
So Jock Peterson, a mainstay and setter, struggling with the bat, but he has reached base 19 of the last 23 games, hitting only .236 with the 20 home runs and the 38 runs batted in. Matz looks down the barrel to get a sign. Peterson waiting. And the young left-hander delivers curveball in for a strike. 0-1. So Peterson hitting with Van Slyke at first. Nobody out. Second inning, 1-0 Mets. We talked about Steve Matz and the delicatessen and the sandwich. There's another deli tie-in. Peterson takes high. Steven's grandmother worked in a delicatessen, and we told you the entire family absolutely loved the Mets. So it was a gift from heaven that he wound up pitching for them. The 1-1 pitch on the way, fastball missed. Anyway, his grandmother worked in a deli. She'd cut out and save coupons on milk cartons. And for every 20 coupons, she'd get a free Mets ticket. Though wherever you look, there were about 500 milk cartons all over the place. And she accumulated them. There goes Van Slyke into second base. A poor throw from behind the plate. So the Dodgers, anything but a running game, start right off and pick up their 17th steal. So Peterson takes a pitch low. It looked like Monell did not have a grip on the ball, but he was forced to throw it anyway. It was a throw that actually hit the left side of the mound and never really got there. So the tying run at second base, nobody out, thanks to the stolen base, and a 3-1 count to Jock Peterson. Matz delivers, fastball up, swung on and missed, and up was not only in the location but the velocity. That's the first one he has cut loose at 96. So anyway, in those days they take grandmother's coupons, and the whole Matz family would sit in the upper deck. Citi Field in New York. Steve Matz. So close to Mets. Matz of the Mets. Peterson trying to at least advance Van Slyke. The left-hander ready. Matz comes back. Fastball. Got him looking, and down goes Peterson. So young Jock frozen. Third strikeout for Matz. 1 out, and A.J. Ellis coming up. Well, good fastball. Had a good portion of the strike zone, and Peterson, somewhat mesmerized, just stood and took it. So 1 away. A.J. Ellis checks in, hitting about a .181, making his 25th start of the year, and the pitch is low, ball 1. Dodgers have played 82 games prior to today. 1 ball and no strikes. On deck, Mike Bolsinger. Matz back with a fastball low. 2 balls and no strikes. Matz ready. Now his 2-0 pitch, and that's way off the plate. Lost his delivery form on that one. 3-0 the count. So AJ waiting with the pitcher to follow. They might let AJ swing away. We'll see. The 3-0 pitch coming up. AJ looks at a strike, and the count 3-1. Waiting on deck, Mike Bolsinger, batting ninth in the lineup. Next pitch is lifted to right center. Van Slyke goes to the bag, but he's not going anywhere. Granderson makes the catch and then guns it in. Perfect throw to Tejada. So Ellis tried to at least advance him. Got a fly ball to right field. And the batter now is Mike Bolsinger. Bolsinger has 1 hit in 24 at-bats. The hit was a double. And he has struck out just about half the time. Steve Matt's ready and delivers. Fastball in there for a strike at 95. So he's been relying on that. Of course, when you can throw 95, not a bad pitch to rely on. Occasional curveball and a change. Back with another fastball in there. So quickly he's out in front of Mike Bolsinger. No balls and 2 strikes. Steve Matz is 6'2", 200-pounder. He'll be 24 the end of December. Now the strike 2 pitch on the way. Slow curveball, but he missed inside. 1-2 the count. Matt's missing 2 years because of Tommy John. So his career really started in 2012. So he's made a rapid advancement. 1-2 fastball just inside. So he had him 0-2, threw the slow curve, missed. Came back with a fastball, missed. And they count 2-2 as Terry Collins watching his every move. Tying run is Van Slyke at second. 2-2 pitch, fastball, foul back. Kind of ironic to see Terry Collins managing the New York Mets. Not only did Terry manage in the minor leagues for the Dodgers, Lodi, Vero Beach, San Antonio, and Albuquerque. At one time, Terry Collins was the director of player development for the Dodgers. And the pitch is swung on and missed. That does it for Bolsinger, and that's 4 strikeouts for Steven Matz. So no runs, no hits, a leadoff walk, and a stolen base. And at the end of 2, 1-0 Mets. And Phillies, help us celebrate the Dodgers' all-time leader in stolen bases, Maury Wills. And the first 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Maury Wills bobblehead presented by New Balance. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Third inning, 1-0 Mets. Granderson, Murphy, and Duda in that order, and Mike Bolsinger about ready to go to work. I guess before you let the New York Mets leave town, and you've already talked a little bit about the beginning of the ball club, but there's one other story about the New York Mets that is certainly appropriate. 30 years ago yesterday, that's right, it was July the 4th, 1985. The pitch to Granderson is taken for ball one. The Mets were playing Atlanta, and since it was July 4th, the Atlanta Braves naturally used fireworks as a hook to get the people to come to the game. Granderson takes ball 2-0. So they promised the fans when the game was over they were going to have fireworks. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. Granderson takes a strike. Well, first of all, the game was tied going into the bottom of the 18th inning, and Atlanta was now losing the game. And remember, fireworks, and it's the 18th inning. And a very weak hitting pitcher, maybe as weak a hitter as there was in the league, a pitcher by the name of Rick Camp, came up to the plate with a couple of men on base. Granderson fouls another one away. And believe it or not, Rick Camp hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 18th inning to tie up the game. And now remember, they promised fireworks. They go to the 19th inning, and the Mets score 3 more runs. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Granderson, fouled away. In the bottom of the 19th inning, who comes up to make the last out? Rick Camp. And the game is over. The Mets have won it 16-13. It's also 3 o'clock in the morning. And whatever large crowd they had back at the start of the game, the majority had long since gone home, but there's always 1,000 or two who are not going to give up the ghost. They're going to stay to the bitter end. Here's the 2-2 pitch on the way, foul back. And they not only stayed for the end of the game, they wanted their fireworks. They had paid for their fireworks. And so the Braves were stuck. They had to give the remaining fans the fireworks show. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta. Granderson hits another foul ball out of play. Thank you, Curtis, for allowing us to tell the story. Anyway, at 3 o'clock in the morning, Atlanta management sent off the fireworks. There were a lot of houses and apartment houses around the ballpark, and they caught all kinds of heck for that, but they did have the fireworks. 2-2 pitch is taken high. Rick Camp wound up being the losing pitcher, the home run hitter. The winning pitcher, Ron Darling, is now one of the broadcasters in Major League Baseball and has done a lot of work for the Mets. 3-2 is high, and Granderson, a great at-bat, draws the walk. So you can't ever think of the Mets in July 4th without thinking about that nightmarish night for Atlanta. With all of that, and the Braves lost more ways than one. Okay, we have Granderson at first, winning that big duel. Daniel Murphy, fly ball single in the first inning. Bolsinger delivers low in the dirt. Nice save by Ellis. 1 ball and no strikes. By the way, the Dodgers are having another physical problem. This time it's Carlos Frias with a sore back. And it looks like Frias might have to go on the DL, which means the Dodgers will have to dip into the minor leagues to bring up a pitcher to go up against the Phillies. The next pitch foul back, and the count 1-1. So the Dodgers began the year losing Hyun-Jin Ryu and Brandon McCarthy, and now the troubled Giants have lost Tim Hudson, got Jake Peavy back, and they've also lost Tim Lincecum. They're both on the DL. 1-1 pitch, foul back. 1-2 the count to Daniel Murphy. Murphy from Jacksonville, Florida. Last year, Murphy was one of the best hitters in the league on the road. He hit .322 on the road. Granderson, who had that great at-bat, that was a 10-pitch walk, takes his lead at first. The 1-2 pitch to Murphy is a ground ball into right field, base hit. Puig was deep, but Granderson's going to hold, and Yasiel gets it quickly back in. So Murphy is 2 for 2. The Mets with runners at first and second and nobody out, and the batter will be Lucas Duda. So that was a sharp hit, ground ball, base hit. Puig came up cleanly, and Murphy stopping at first as Granderson stopped at second. And now you have Duda, Flores, and Kadire. Lucas Duda means a great deal to the Mets. He's their butter and egg man. 10 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Duda, in his last 16 games, that goes back to the 17th of June, however, is hitting $1.50. So 2 on and nobody out, and the big left-hand batter checks in. Lucas looks at a strike, and the count 0-1. Lucas Duda had Tommy John surgery, even though he was a first baseman and an outfielder. The next pitch very high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bolsinger has also made 48 pitches, and he has no one out in the 3rd inning, so Mike is laboring. That 10-pitch at-bat by Gunderson really started the inning off on a bad note for him. Duda fouls a pitch away. Duda last year, a total of 26 home runs. As a first baseman, the big home run hitter for the New York Mets, Carlos Delgado. He had 38 home runs back in 2008. 1-2 the count. Duda, an impressive figure, 6'4", about 255. The 1-2 pitch, and he swings and drives it foul down the line. Duda the other night made the biggest play of a very tough game that the Mets won 2-1. Diving at a ball hit by Yasiel Puig, getting up out of the dirt, beating Puig to first base, and keeping Justin Turner at third. That was a huge play. Duda not with the bat, with the glove. 1-2 pitch, and that's on the outside corner at the knees. Duda turning to question Alfonso Marquez, and then goes away. So Lucas has fallen upon lean times, although he did hit the ball sharply in the 1st inning when he lined out to Howie Kendrick. That is the 2nd strikeout for Mike Bollinger. 1 run, 4 hits for the Mets. Wilmer Flores checking in. Bolsinger trying to get out of a jam here. Big breaking ball, but it stayed up and in. 1 ball and no strikes to Wilmer Flores. Flores very hot in the series. He is 7 for 9. Wilmer's out of Valencia in Venezuela. Swings, hits a high fly ball down the left field line. Racing over is Van Slyke in fair ground on the track. Makes the catch, and the runners have to hold. That was within 5 feet of being a home run, and Van Slyke traveled a long way to catch up to it. So Flores flies out, and Mike Kadire coming up. Kadire's knee was so bad that a few days ago, before the road trip, the Mets worried they would have to put him on the DL. Currently, there are 10 Mets players on the DL. But Kadire, who is 36 years old, so they worried about the knee, but here he is. Right-hand batter, 6'2", 220. Bolsinger checking the runners, pitches, and Kadire takes in the dirt. Ball 1, 1-0. Nice save by Ellis. So 2 on, 2 out. 1 ball and no strikes. Kadire, who first came up to the Minnesota Twins way back in 2001. Then had a good career briefly, however, with the Rockies and now with the Mets, and takes low. 2-0 the count. When Kadaya signed with the Mets, at the time, he signed for a team record $1.8 million signing bonus. He was an outstanding junior player. 1997, he was just 18 years old. Takes a look at a strike. 2-1 the count to Mike. With everything else, all of his talent in high school, he was a National Honor Society member in high school in Virginia. Swings, fouls it back, and the count 2-2. Of course, Mike always talks about the work ethic of his father. His dad was a truck driver delivering snacks to stores around Norfolk, Virginia. Mike said his dad began work at 2 a.m. and ended at 2 p.m. And there was nobody home to babysit as a kid. So he would go with his dad early in the morning and sleep in the truck and then wake up and help his dad deliver. 2-2 inside. Now he's trying to help the Mets deliver. 3-2 the count. Kadire also suffered from a rare viral infection and lost the hearing in his left ear. 3-2 with 2 out, runners go, and a breaking ball is popped in the air up along first. Gonzalez and Ellis. It's Gonzalez in fair ground making the catch, and the inning is over. No runs, 1 hit. Mets leave 2, and at the end of 2.5 innings, Mets 1, Dodgers nothing. Favor of the New York Mets. Dodgers had 2 on in the first inning, could not score. Had a leadoff man walk and steal second. That was Van Slyke, and they left him. So down 1-0. They'll have Hernandez, Kendrick, and Turner and try it again. Matt's fastball is foul back, and the count 0-1. The Mets had 2 on and nobody out in the third, and they came up empty. The Mets are 1-for-7 with runners in scoring position. So they're as frustrated as the Dodgers, even though they're leading. Breaking ball in nicely for a strike. Slow curve. 0-2 to Kike, who grounded a single to left field in the first inning. The next one, another breaking ball, a check, swing on Hernandez. Mike Everett, the first base umpire, has rung him up. Kike didn't know that. Now he's informed. Check, and the bat goes out in front of the zone, and down he goes. So for Matz, he picks up his 5th strikeout. And with 1 out, the hot Dodger hitter Howie Kendrick checking in. Steve Matz ready. Left-handed fastball in for a strike. Good looking pitching. I mean, the Mets had Noah Syndergaard Friday night. He is a fine young first league pitcher. Now they have Matz going today, and in between they had Matt Harvey. Syndergaard, who throws very hard, was not involved but allowed just one run in 6 innings. And the Mets beat the Dodgers and Jansen 2-1. Ground ball hard. Circus play at Daniel Murphy to make the play. Murphy gloved the ball, and it was as if he was on a turntable. He did a complete turn and still did not lose focus as to where first base is, and threw a strike. 2 down in the 3rd inning. And the batter, Justin Turner, who struck out in the 1st inning. Justin hitting .311. Before the game, the Dodgers had a cute little promotion. Justin Turner had a baseball, and he went looking for a red-headed child. There aren't that many of them, but he did find a 10-year-old with blazing red hair, and he gave the youngster the ball and declared, "You're going to throw out the first pitch." And the little guy did. He did very well. Breaking ball strike, 1-1. Somebody told me, I don't remember the year, but they said by the year 2000 and let's say 30. By the year 2030, there will no longer be any redheads. Yeah, that's what I was told. I'm not sure why. By the year 2030, I know one redhead who really doesn't care. I'm not going to be around to see it. So Justin with that red-headed beard and the fiery red hair. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled back. By the way, to conclude the story, the Mets and the Braves in July 4th, our producer Glenn Diamond was actually in the truck directing things, was among other things told by Mr. Turner. Ted said, "I want the fireworks show to be on TV." So he was showing the fireworks on TV at 3 o'clock in the morning. Meanwhile, chopper to short, gobbled up there by Tejada, and that'll do it for Turner and the Dodgers. At the end of 3, Mets 1, Dodgers nothing. Jeep Cherokee. With an EPA estimated 31 highway MPG, it's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. 4th inning, 1-0 in favor of the Mets. It'll be Johnny Monell, the catcher, Ruben Tejada, and then the pitcher, Steven Matz. One thing for Bolsinger, and it always is a painful stat for any pitcher, he's made 59 pitches, and one of the big reasons the Mets have hit 16 foul balls against him. So a lot of extra pitches, including that 10-pitch walk to Curtis Granderson. And ball one to Monell, who flied to left field in the first inning. Mets have certainly not had any power in a while. The last time a Met other than Curtis Granderson hit a home run was Duda back on June the 18th. Line drive, base hit to center. That was a straight changeup, and Monell hit that thing like the apple hanging off a tree. Line drive, single to center. So the Mets 1 run, 5 hits. Dodgers no runs, 1 hit. Monell at first. Tejada flied to right field, and then the pitcher, Steve Matz, who hit the ball hard but lined out. Dodgers trying to take advantage of what would appear to be a very fortunate time in the schedule. I mean, here they are playing the Mets, who are having a lot of trouble scoring, and yet they've split the first 2. And then the first lowest scoring team, even poorer than the Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, are coming into town for 4. Monell goes, hit and run, ground ball right into the spot vacated by Howie Kendrick. Going to third is Monell, and it's the Mets who put on a hit and run play and make it work.
Number 32.
So Monell and Tejada single. First and third, nobody out. And the batter will be the pitcher, and a good one, Steve Matz. Matz, again, remember, in case you weren't with us at the start of the game, in his major league debut, he had 3 hits, 3 for 3, including a double, and 4 runs batted in. The last Mets pitcher to have a 4 RBI game like that was Dwight Gooden. So Matz, right-hand batter. Bolsinger ready. And ball 1. Matz checking with Tim Tuffle, the third base coach. You have the center fielder Juan Lagares batting 9th. Breaking ball off the plate. So Bolsinger now in a jam. 2 balls and no strikes. Again, you're wondering, a very good hitting pitcher batting 8th. Would Terry Collins put the bunt on, stay out of the double play? He has him swinging. Foul back, 2-1. Remember we told you about the deli sandwich named Matt's with the chicken cutlet? Well, Glenn Diamond and the crew have come up with the actual picture of the sandwich. There it is. Again, if you want to write down the menu or the recipe, it's a chicken cutlet, melted jack and cheddar cheese. There's bacon, lettuce, tomato, topped with pepper house dressing on a toasted bun of some kind, maybe even a bagel, being the deli in New York. Little ground ball. That's going to score the run, and the only play is to first base. So not only does Monell score, it means that Steve Matz has 5 RBIs in 2 games in the big leagues. So Matz grounds out slowly. He's nailed. Tejada advances to second. Monell carries in the run, and the Mets lead 2-0. For the Dodgers, indeed a very sobering thought to be laboring against the Mets, and having the Mets, who have been labored most of the time, leading 1 game and now out in front 2-0 today. The last time the Mets won a series from another team was May. And again, the Dodger record against the Mets, including the 2 games this year, the last 14 games, the Dodgers have won 10 of the 14. Strike. And again, the key in this inning was that hit and run play that worked. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lagares flied to center. He's really struggling, but he hits a hopper that hits the umpire, and the second base umpire would be Mike Everett, and he was nailed. Ball is dead immediately, and it's a base hit. The only difference, they have to send Tejada back to second base. In checking the umpires, it's Dan Bellino out there at second. The Bellino hit by the line drive. Lagar says thank you very much. It would have been fielded by Howie Kendrick. Kendrick was directly behind him, but the play and the ball dead immediately. So first and second with one out. That's 7 hits and 2 runs against Bolsinger. And the batter is Curtis Granderson, who had that great at-bat last time up and takes ball 1. Granderson had the shift on in the first inning, dribbled one to third. Turner had no play, and then walked on the 10th pitch in the third inning. That's a strike. So Lagares and Tejada out there on the base paths. Fouled, no, down the line, fair by less than a foot. Scoring easily is Tejada. Stopping at third is Lagares. The Granderson singles in a run, and the Mets lead 3-0. Now you have to remember, in the last 16 games, the Mets have been averaging less than 2 runs a game, and they have 3 runs in 3 1/3 innings today. So Granderson doubles just inside the chalk and down the left field line, picks up the RBI. So it's a 2-run inning. Second and third, still only 1 out, and Daniel Murphy coming up. So Lagares talking to Tim Tuffle at third, Granderson at second, and Murphy 2 for 2. They'll take the bat out of his hands with first base open, and boy, that is something to walk the man in front of Lucas Duda, a left-hand batter who has been struggling and is 0 for 2 today. So Murphy gets the intentional walk. Bolsinger in a big jam, and he's also made 78 pitches. And in a moment we'll have ball 4. So in the inning, Monell single to center, Tejada single to right. Matz grounded out scoring a run. Lagares hit a shot that hit the umpire, dead ball, base hit, put runners at first and second. Then Granderson doubled in a run. Murphy now walks intentionally and the bases are loaded. Lagares, Granderson, and Murphy. And here is Duda, who lined out and was called out on strikes. So the Dodgers, a big gamble here. And Bolsinger facing the left-hand batter who swings and misses. By the way, Duda does not have a grand slam in his young career. So one of those gambles dictated by circumstances. Duda had 21 home runs along with 64 RBIs, fouls another pitch back. So the big left-hand batter 0-2. In the Dodger bullpen, Juan Nicasio gets up. So Bolsinger is trying to stop the bleeding. He's also trying to survive the inning. 7th batter with Duda, and on deck Wilmer Flores. Dodgers have loaded up the right side, so Turner's all alone on the left. And the strike 2 pitch to Duda is swung on and fouled at the plate. Or did he? Nope. It was in the dirt, and Duda just walks away empty-handed yet again. So for the number 3 hitter to walk the hitter ahead of him, and then Duda obviously pressing, swinging at a pitch in the dirt, he had no chance of connecting. So bases loaded, 2 out. Wilmer Flores, the number 8 hitter, checking in with Mike Kadire on deck. Flores single to right, fly to left, hits one foul down the line out of play. Flores has had a big series. Flied out the last time. He was 7 for 9 when he flied out in the series. No balls and 1 strike the count. So Murphy, Granderson, and Lagares all out on the lines. Bolsinger trying to fight his way out of a jam. The next pitch is a ground ball. It's going to go smothered by Hernandez. Can't make a play. And the bases remain loaded and a run scored. Kike, a tremendous effort. If that ball goes through, it's a 2-run single. Turns out to be a 1-run single. It makes it 4-0 in favor of the Mets, and the bases are still loaded. It was a curveball hit up the middle. Kike stood on his head, literally, trying to get a play to second base. A tremendous effort by the shortstop, right on his head. So Flores an infield single. Everybody moves up 90 feet. Bases remain loaded. Scoring is Lagares. Boy, what an effort by Kike Hernandez. So the bases are still loaded. Granderson down the line from third, and the first pitch to Kadire misses ball 1. Kadire has 8 grand slams in his career. Last year he hit one for Colorado against Arizona. The 1-0 pitch on the way, ball 2. 4 runs, 9 hits for the Mets. 1 hit where Bolsinger was really unlucky. The drive that would have been fielded by Kendrick, but the ball that hit the umpire instead. Next pitch, ground ball wide at third. Turner down to second just in time, and the inning is over. But not before the Mets score 3. 9 men came to the plate. And at the end of 3.5 innings, 4-0 Mets. Day ticket special. All reserve level tickets are 50% off for Wednesday, July 8th, the Dodgers and the Phillies. Plus, the first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Hello Kitty plush presented by Time Warner Cable. Go to Dodgers.com/special for more information. Well, Steven Matz given a 4-run cushion to lean on. 4-0 Mets. Hello, darling. Just make sure you drink a lot of water and put on some sunblock. Brother and sister, terrific. Alex Guerrero is going to come up and hit for Adrian Gonzalez. Remember, Adrian was hit on the hand, and it could be that hand is really bothering him. So with everything else going kaflooey, the Dodgers might lose Gonzalez for a little while. We mentioned a couple of times the Mets have had 10 current players on the DL. They have 14 rookie players. So injuries are as much a part of the game as home runs and everything else. 0-2 the count to Alex Guerrero. Guerrero hitting .259. 10 home runs, 30 runs batted in. And as you probably know, has been a very successful pinch hitter. Fastball got him. So Guerrero strikes out. For Steven Matz, he has now struck out 6. They're going to have to name an entire dinner after him in that deli if he keeps this up. Yasiel Puig. It has been a very, very frustrating year so far. With nobody on base, he's hitting .352. With runners in scoring position, he's batting .143. Puig suddenly against a left-hander has dropped a hit behind Gonzalez, hitting in the number 5 slot. Another strike. Oh, 0-2 to Yasiel. 1 out. 4-0 Mets. Just show that to him. For Matz, before his senior year in high school, he was shocked when they had a gun on his pitches. Curveball is hit to right field. Anderson is there. Yeah, they were informing young Matz at a local showcase camp. Do you realize your fastball is clocked at 89? He had never been clocked before. He didn't know that. That got him invited to a national showcase in Minnesota. Then he got up to 91, and everybody fell in love with him. Ball 1. 2 down, 4th inning, 4-0 New York. One and one. For Bolsinger, he's made 85 pitches in 4 innings. But it looks like he might have to bite the bullet, hoping the Dodgers can come back. That's a strike. 1-2 to Scott Van Slyke. So Bolsinger refreshing himself, so he's staying in for sure. That's foul back. Matz, who has that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but nevertheless, he's gotten 11 outs. 6 of the 11 outs have come on a pitch that was either 77 or 78 miles an hour. Fastball popped a mile high and foul, out of play. That was 95, and that's what's going on. He's throwing 95, setting it up, and then coming back with the off-speed pitch, and it's really paying off. Two and two. Fastball missed. 3-2. When Matz made his debut at Citi Field, there were about 130 friends and relatives in attendance. And ball 4. So a 2-out walk. Van Slyke now has walked twice. And Jock Peterson, who struck out, coming up. So Matz has walked 2, hit a batter, and struck out 6. In fact, double checking, I was talking about Steve Matz and all the family and relatives, but he made his debut in Cincinnati. So a lot of people came over to see him pitch. About 130 friends and relatives. They say he took a vicious cut at the first pitch and missed, and hit the next pitch for a 2-run double, and his career was off and running. Change curve, a comebacker, and the easy out. So Peterson hits back to the box. The Dodgers leave Van Slyke. And at the end of 4, it's all Mets for the Mets. 4-0. He'll discuss growing up in Las Vegas and his road from radio to late night. So don't miss Larry King at Bat with Jimmy Kimmel. That's today at 5 on Sportsnet LA. Alex Guerrero, who pinch hit for Gonzalez, stays in the game in left field. Scott Van Slyke, who started in left field, takes over at first base. As soon as we get a report, all we know is that Adrian was hit on the hand by a pitch. So here come the Mets. Johnny Monell, who led off the 4th with a single. 9 men came to the plate, so here he is leading off the 5th. Light breeze blowing from left to right. 0-1. Ground foul. No balls and 2 strikes to John. Then Tejada, and then the pitcher, Steve Matz. One ball and 2 strikes. The Phillies will be in town starting tomorrow night. 4-game series. Tomorrow night's pitcher, TBD, to be announced. Sean O'Sullivan will be pitching for Philadelphia. And Monell, big swing, doesn't get it. 1-2. Tuesday night, July the 7th, on the mound for the Phillies will be Chad Billingsley. Chad Billingsley, the former Dodger, will go up against Brett Anderson. Wednesday night, Adam Morgan will go up against Clayton Kershaw. Little chopper to short. Playing that position wide of third is Turner. 1 away. And then on Thursday, the concluding game of the 4-game series, another former Dodger pitcher, Kevin Correa. And he'll go up against Zach Greinke. One away here in the 5th inning. Ruben Tejada, fly to right, single to right, 1 for 2. Ball 1. That's a strike. Mike Bollinger trying to get out of an inning. He made only 9 pitches in the 2nd inning, but he's labored in every other inning. checked in the dirt. They're going to look, swing. 1-2. By the way, the Milwaukee Brewers, who will be here on the weekend starting on July the 10th, the Brewers have just been flying high of late. They've won 8 straight. Adam Lynn has an RBI in 9 straight games. That hits the bat. Still 1-2. Craig Counsell trying to get things turned around for Milwaukee. They're in last place, but they have won 7 straight and 8 out of 10. Half swing, off speed pitch, got away. Ellis plenty of time and throws him out. 2 down. Four strikeouts for Bolsinger. And here's Steve Matz. By the way, I apologize. Sometimes you get caught up. You're trying to look at a note and you're trying to keep an eye on a pitch or a play. Just to make it definitive, Steve Matz made his debut at City Park in New York. He had about 130 friends and family in attendance. But what had to make it agonizing, I mean, he's making his debut, so you know he's going to be at the ballpark very early. And he had to wait almost 3.5 agonizing hours because of rain. And then he went out and pitched a gem. And he is doing exceptionally well. He's allowed 1 hit, the single by Hernandez, leading off the bottom of the first inning. Two balls, 1 strike. Change, and he missed. Mike Bolsinger, 27 years old, out of McKinney, Texas. Fastball chopped to short, gobbled up by Hernandez. So for the second time today, and only the second, the Mets go out in order, and at the end of 4.5 innings, Mets lead 4-0. At LA is brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Save big on any new 2015 Camry now at Toyota's July 4th sales event. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0 in favor of the Mets. The Dodgers have 1 hit. Their attack has been 2 walks, a hit batter, and a single. And ball 1 to A.J. Ellis, who flied to right field in the 2nd inning. Alberto Callaspo, who had a couple of hits yesterday and key RBIs, out on deck to bat for Bolsinger, who has made 100 pitches. That's a strike, and they count 1 ball and 1 strike. J.B. Howell will be coming in to pitch part of the 6th inning at least. Fastball, 2-1. A.J. 0 for 1 with that fly ball to right. Dodgers have had 2 men get to second base. Hernandez in the 1st inning. There's a line drive. That's going to be in there. Gloved nicely on a hop by Kadire. So A.J. a long single to left. And the batter will be the hitter, Alberto Callaspo, batting for the pitcher, Mike Bolsinger. So Alberto Callaspo with a runner at first, nobody out. Then the leadoff man, Kike Hernandez, on deck. High fly ball to straightaway center. Lagares is there. Ellis holding at first. So Callaspo didn't hang around long enough to talk about the fact he's made a couple of good contributions to the Dodgers of late. That first ball swinging and a fly ball to center. Kike Hernandez single to left, struck out and stood on his head. He really did, if you weren't with us in the 4th inning, on the ground ball up the middle by Wilmer Flores. It was a remarkable effort. We can show it. Slides, rolls over, and right up on top of his head. Still trying to get the play at second base. Foul ball. The play by Kike. He could not prevent one from scoring, but had it gone by, it'd be 5-0 instead of 4. The Kike walking away like I gave it my best shot. That for the pitcher Steve Matz would be his 7th strikeout. And the batter Howie Kendrick. In Matz's previous start against Cincinnati, he struck out 6. Fastball away. Matz has made 81 pitches, and he has 2 out, 5th inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Missed inside, ball 2. The Mets began the day 4.5 games behind Washington. Washington has a little 2-game winning streak. They are hosting the Giants, and the Giants play tonight. That is the toughest you can get. You play a night game on the East Coast. By the time you get off the ground and then fly to the West Coast, you're going to land in the wee small hours, and then they're going to play the Mets. They've already lost 5 in a row, so the Giants can't be in a very good humor at all. 3-1 the count to Howie Kendrick, who struck out and grounded to third. Fouled away. Kendrick has done exceptionally well. Of course, he's had a great year, or a half a year, but he's done very well since they moved him to the number 2 slot. He's hit .455 in the number 2 slot. Runner goes, and a high fly ball to right. Granderson digging. Now in foul ground, makes a one-hand catch for the out. Nice play by Curtis. The Kendrick fouls out to right. The Dodgers no runs, 1 hit, leave a man, and at the end of 5, 4-0 New York. fact the Dodgers were playing Montreal, but the fact the game was broadcast in English, of course, Spanish, of course, French, mais oui, and Chinese and Korean. By the way, in that game, the Dodgers lost 4-2 to former Dodger pitcher Pedro Martinez in any language. Let's go back to this one.
Bring up the 6th inning, number 12, Juan Lagares.
4-0 in favor of the Mets. J.P. Howell picking up now. Mike Bolsinger made 100 pitches, and J.P. has to get some outs. Juan Lagares, Curtis Granderson, and Daniel Murphy, with Granderson and Murphy left-hand batters. Ball one. Lagares flied to center and then had that freak single. The ball that was hit and hit umpire Dan Bellino, the second base umpire. Ball was dead, no advancement by the runner, and the hitter granted a base hit. Comebacker. One away. Nice play by JP. It was a very good play for one reason. It was a textbook play. He was in perfect position. If we could see that comebacker, maybe before getting in the way. See where J.P. Howell is. He's right there ready to have the ball come back. Friday night, there were 2 pitches, no follow through, and each one hurt. One was by Noah Syndergaard, and the last one was by Kenley Jansen. Both times the ball got away that might very well have been fielded. And JP, that was a textbook follow through. 0-1 to Granderson, who singled, doubled, and walked. Right. Steven Matz has made 86 pitches in 5 innings. 0-2. Four runs, 9 hits for the Mets. Granderson pulls it foul. Still 0-2. The Dodgers loaded up the infield to the right side in the first inning. Turner was all alone between second and third. Granderson hit a little ground ball that should have been an out, but Turner could not get to it. There was no shortstop, and Granderson got the hit. Swung on and missed, gets away. Ellis has time, guns it to first. Down goes Granderson for the second out. So JP quickly 2 outs. And the batter, Daniel Murphy.
Daniel Murphy.
So if you look at Granderson's dribbler, that went for a hit. Then you look for the ball that hit the umpire. That meant another run. So Bolsinger didn't pitch very well, but at the same time, he certainly didn't get any luck at all, except maybe bad luck. Murphy, single to center, single to right, walked intentionally. Ball 1. That was a tough blow for Lucas Duda, the number 3 hitter, and they walked the number 2 hitter intentionally to load him up, and Duda struck out. And that hits Murphy. So Murphy, who certainly looks a bit annoyed having been hit by the pitch, walking slowly to first, and Duda coming up.
Number 21, Lucas Duda.
Pitch high and tight, got him just on the right arm below the shoulder. So Murphy hit by the pitch at first base. Murphy, by the way, second time this year has been hit. That's scary to see what I believe was a fire department helicopter. So here's Duda. And a strike. Duda hit the ball right on the screws in the first inning, but he hit it right at Howie Kendrick. Otherwise, with a normal defensive alignment, he would have had a base hit. Then he struck out in the third, struck out with the bases loaded in the fourth. One and one. The report on Adrian Gonzalez is a contusion of the right hand, a bruise. That's all we know. That's when he got it, and it obviously hurt. Matz, of course, has hit 95 quite often on the gun. And I think one reason that Daniel Murphy was annoyed, I think psychologically he felt, oh great, that's payback. Our pitcher happens to hit Gonzalez, now they nail me. Maybe. But the odds are pretty good. And Duda in one of those games finds himself with 2 strikes again. It's as if he walks up to the plate and he has a 2-strike count. Duda with 2 strikeouts today has struck out 83 times. High for the Dodgers would be Puig. Nope, make it Peterson, who was struck out 97 times and now once today for 98. Four runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Mets, no runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 1-2. By the way, we were talking earlier about the Giants faced with one of the nightmare, and all the clubs wind up having it. If you're selected for a Sunday night network game, well, the Giants are in Washington, D.C., and we were talking about them playing tonight, flying all night to play the Mets tomorrow. And down goes Duda a 3rd time. Well, the Giants have been granted permission. You don't hear about this very often. Giants have been granted permission to fly home tomorrow morning from Washington, hoping the weather will be okay and they'll get home to again. What do the Dodgers have ahead of them? Well, here come the Philadelphia Phillies. It'll be a 4-game series. Certainly one of the highlights, besides saluting Maury Wills on his bobblehead night, will be the return of Chad Billingsley to be pitching Tuesday night for Philadelphia, and then the weekend with Milwaukee. Meanwhile, we're in the bottom of the 6th inning. 4-0 favor the Mets, and here's Justin Turner. Ball 1. Turner struck out, grounded out. If you were the Giants, and you're in Washington, D.C., and you're going to play a game tonight, and you're going to play a game tomorrow night in San Francisco. Good off-speed curveball. Would you rather play the game, fly all night, get home, get into your own bed, sleep during the day, then get up and go to the ballpark? 1 and 2. Or would you rather play the game, go back to the hotel, get something to eat, try to get some sleep? You have to get up in the morning. Bags have to be down at a certain hour. You try to get some breakfast, fly from Washington to San Francisco, and then play tomorrow night. Which would you pick? It's a tough decision. Obviously, the Giants, and they might have taken a vote on it. Giants opted to spend the night, fly tomorrow. Washington to San Francisco, that's got to be a 6-hour flight. Sure. So if they leave at 10, 6 hours, they also lose 3. So if they leave at 10, that's 7 in the morning San Francisco time. They would land at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, go home, take a shower, wake up, and go to the ballpark. That's what they're faced tomorrow. Logan Verretto, right-hander, warming up in the Mets bullpen. Among other things, Mets has already made 86 pitches coming into the inning, and he's now 92 pitches contending with Justin Turner. 2-2. Line down the line, foul. I have a solution. I mean, if I were in that bind, I've been giving it a lot of thought, you can imagine. And I was making the kind of money that some of these players make. Number one, I would hire somebody else to play for me. Then I would fly home at a reasonable hour and wish my team a great deal of success. 3-2. Mets just missed. Steven has allowed 2 hits, a leadoff single to Hernandez in the first inning, and a leadoff single to Ellis in the 5th. Fastball hit in the air. Lagares is at the other end of it. 1 away. So Turner 0 for 3. A lot of offers in the Dodger lineup. I would guess there's a big television audience for this game in New York. I mean, Steven Matz really captured the imagination with that great debut. And now, so far, he's improved, holding the Dodgers to zip. Guerrero pinch hit for Gonzalez after Adrian had been hit by a pitch. And Guerrero struck out in the 4th inning, finishing up in left field. Fastball straight away. Here comes Lagares. That fastball at 96. Throws a lot at 94 and then the occasional 95 and 6. But the big thing, and that's why he is where he is the fact that he's able to change off that 95 to 77 and 78. No slider. Curveball and straight change as well. So 2 out, and here's Yasiel Puig. Change, ball 1. One and one from the change back to the fastball. You know, only 4 Mets pitchers have ever won their first 2 appearances, and that's what Mets is trying to do. Who are the 4? Dick Selma, Gary Gentry, Roger McDowell, and Mike Pelfrey. That's another strike. So he has walked 2, and that's Van Slyke twice, and hit a batter. 1-2 to Puig. Breaking ball got him. That's the curveball, and Puig caught looking. So that's 8 strikeouts for young Steve Matz. So they've got a sandwich named after him. The next thing you know, it'll be a building. And at the end of 6, it's 4-0 New York. Reasons. And there's a reminder to be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance Saturday at 7:10. Dodgers and Brewers, and for sentimental reasons, receive a Juan Uribe bobblehead presented by Farmer John. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotion. So Poppy won't be here, but he will get his bobblehead. And we go to the 7th. Juan Nicasio will pick up. So Bolsinger win 5. Then Howell an inning. And now Nicasio with a record of 1-2 and a good ERA of 2. Nicasio will face Flores, Kadire, and Monell. It was Flores. They hit the ball in the 4th inning that Kike Hernandez literally stood on his head, blocking the ball out on the grass behind second base. Fastball. Got him, I think, a little bit. Left leg. Aye. Flores 2 for 3. Wilmer with 10 home runs, 37 runs batted in. Fly ball deep to left back in the 3rd inning. Scott Van Syke, who was playing, caught the ball on the track about 5 feet, no more than that, in front of the box seats. 2-1. Mets trying to get above the 500 mark. They are exactly 500. 41 wins, 41 losses. Hard ground ball by the diving Turner down the line. There goes Flores into second base easily. Guerrero gets it back in. So a leadoff double by Wilmer Flores. That's his 3rd hit today.
Michael Kadire.
And Mike Kadire will be coming up. Pulled right inside the bag. Turner missing by about a foot. And Flores a leadoff double. So Kadire, Monell, and Tejada trying to pick him up. Kadire has struck out, popped up, and hit into a force play. One of Kadire's tricks. Have you ever tried to describe a hard trick? Well, we can see if we can tell you about it. That's foul ball. He started making up his own card tricks, and here's the one that blows everybody away. You pick a card from the deck. While you're holding it in your hand and you're looking at it, Kadai will show you another card in the deck. And then while you're still holding your card, he takes that other card and puts it somewhere else in the room. Here's the strike one pitch, fouled away. Then you take your card and put it back in the deck. Then Kadai looks through the deck and he finds your card and shows it to you. And while you're holding it, he taps it a few times, and when you look at your card again, it's not your card anymore. Now it's the card that had been put on the other side of the room. And when someone goes and gets the other card, it's your card. Did that make sense, me trying to describe a card trick? Anyway, that's Mike Kadai. And with his magical touch, he doesn't just perform for teammates. He does it for charities. He works with children's hospitals. He's a terrific guy. Striking out or not. So one down. Flores stays at second, and the batter is John Monell. Kadai goes 0 for 4 on that bad knee. Johnny Monell flied to left, single to center, grounded to third, 1-4-3. There's no one throwing, and now they are in the Mets bullpen. And just now see the ball going back and forth. We bring that up because Matz has made 100 pitches, and Logan Verrett is up again. So it could be they'll lift Matz. He has been all that they have told us. And there's Verrett. For Dan Warthen and for Terry Collins and for all of the Mets coaches, that have to be a lift. I don't know if the Mets can score enough, but boy, they come here for 3 games and they certainly impress. Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, and today Steve Matz. The Mets started off the year in great style. They won 11 straight. That was back in April. They cooled off considerably, but boy, when you look at those 3 pitchers, wow. That's going to go foul. 2-1 to John. Catcher 1 for 3. Kevin Plawecki caught 2 games, and now Monell the third. The Mets, their record at home is better than the Dodger home record. Dodgers are 28-14 at home. The Mets are 29-14. What has killed the Mets, how they've played on the road. Mets are 15 games under 500 on the road. They've held their own pretty much against the Western Division. Terry is 5-7. So should they win today, 6-7. And we're talking about 3 pitchers only because we've seen them in this series. That's ball 3. So you have Syndergaard, you have Harvey, you have Matz, and don't forget Jacob deGrom, who was last year's National League Rookie of the Year. So the Mets have themselves a terrific basis of 4 outstanding young pitchers. There's deGrom with the Prince Valiant hairdo down around the shoulders. And that's ball 4. So Nicasio gives up a walk. First and second, 1 out, and Ruben Tejada coming up.
Number 11, Ruben Tejada.
Tejada flied to right, singled to right, and struck out. Darryl Siciliani comes out on deck to bat for Matz. So figuring that Steve made 100 pitches, figured that he would probably be coming out. Tejada 1 for 3, 2 on, 1 out, 7th inning. 4-0 New York. The Mets trying to win their first series against a team since early May. That would be their first road series, by the way. And that's going to go into right center. Base hit. Puig over to come up with it. Here comes the run. The throw is going to go to second base. Scoring is Flores. And it is 5-0 New York. So Tejada, a single to right. His second hit and a run batted in. So Nicasio is touched up for 2 hits, a walk, and a run. Clean single to right field. Siciliani now, left-hand batter coming up to bat for Matz. Matz, a very good hitting pitcher, was hitting 8th in the lineup and was 0 for 3. Siciliani appeared earlier in the series, batted for Robles, and struck out in the 9th inning of Game 1. Oh, and 1 to count. Siciliani facing Nicasio with 1 out, 2 on. 5-0 Mets. And that's a strike. Wilmer Flores had 2 singles and a double today for 3 hits. And that makes it a terrific series for Flores. He is 3 for 4 in every series in the game. Or, as it should be said, in every game in the series. In 19 previous games, Wilmer had only 1 game with more than 1 hit. That was a 2-hit game. And here he is today, having himself a ball. 2 singles and a double. 5 runs, 11 hits for New York. One and 2. On deck, Juan Lagares, the center fielder. And on the outside corner. So Siciliani strikes out, batting for Matz. So here's Lagares. He flied to center, singled, and hit back to the box. So the 2 men who are on the outside looking in, if you want to discount Matz the pitcher, Duda is 0 for 4, having struck out 3 times. Kadire is 0 for 4, having struck out twice. And ball 1. Lagares flied to center, singled, hit back to the box. His base hit was the ball that hit the umpire, Dan Bellino. We were talking about the 3 pitchers that we have seen in this series. Syndergaard, Harvey, and Matz. 2 other rather familiar names, Jonathan Nice and Bartolo Colon. Nice is a much better pitcher than his record. Nice is 3-8, but his ERA is under 4. It's a high 3. Fly ball to Puig, and he misjudges or loses it in the sun. 2 runs will score. Flying into third base goes Lagares. The one man who can tell you about that would be Yasiel Puig, who wears sunglasses. He was moving over to right center as if he had to play all the way, and then suddenly right there lost it. He had overrun the ball, and it wound up behind him. So that breaks it wide open, 7-0. And for Lagares, He gets the so-called Sun triple. And a couple of runs batted in. So a 2-run Sun triple. Nicasio has now given up 3. It's 7-0 New York. And a strike to Curtis Granderson. Granderson, an infield single, walked on a 10-pitch at bat in the 3rd inning. Doubled and struck out. Strike. 0-2. Well, watch Puig in a moment without getting in the way. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. Take another look. High fly ball to right center. You can see he's got sunglasses, the bill of the cap. He dropped the glove down, then put it back up again, and apparently was never in control. Yeah, that would be the position. What you're trying to do is find the ball in the shade between each deck. They call it like looking into a wedding cake, and it's up. Down goes Granderson to strike out and end the inning, but not before the Mets come up with another 3. And at the end of 6.5 innings, the so-called weak hitting Mets 7, and the Dodgers nada. Baseball on Sportsnet LA is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. 7-0 in favor of the New York Mets as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Logan Verrett, a right-hander out of Corpus Christi, Texas. He was a 3rd-round pick by the Mets out of Baylor back in 2011. His senior year, he was the biggest winner in college ball. He was 18-0. He also hit 7 home runs and was a wide receiver on the football team. He's quite an athlete. And a strike to Van Slyke. Logan Verrett is 6'2", 190, just turned 25. 1 ball and 1 strike. Scott Van Slyke has walked twice and stole a base. Ball 2, 2-1. When Logan Verrett was in high school, His high school team was 42-1, and he was named All South Texas MVP and Player of the Year in the state. Foul back, 2-2. For Verrett, in talking about growing up in Corpus Christi, his favorite players, Cal Ripken Jr. and Craig Biggio. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a drive to left. If it's fair, it's gone. It's down the line, and it is foul by plenty. Still 2-2. Verrett has bounced around while facing Van Slyke. Signed by the Mets, claimed by the Orioles, then claimed from the Orioles by the Rangers, and returned to the Mets. Oh, he takes care of Van Slyke. That is the 9th Dodger to strike out. Matz struck out 8, walked 2, hit a batter, and allowed just 2 hits. So Matz was everything we had been heard about him, and it's worked out for 6 innings. And today, 6 innings, that's a pretty good job. The major league starting pitchers are like quarter horses. They are trained to go 6 to 7 innings. That's it. 0-1. And the Mets are really unusual in the sense that they have all these starting pitchers. I mean, it used to be the big 4. You pitched every 4th day, and you completed, like a Koufax, you'd complete 28 games in 1 year. Then it went to 5 days. Every 5th day, you'd have a 5-man starting staff. And the Mets now have used 6. The interesting thing, I was reading about that, and Sandy Alderson of the Mets, of the front office, said it's good because then they're able to pitch in October and November. But that's really looking ahead, isn't it? Set the whole year up to pitch in October and November. Well, they're 4.5 games behind Washington. Oh, they have a shot for sure. A 6-man staff. Jock Peterson has struck out, hit back to the box, 0 for 2. And ground ball, backhanded by Duda, hangs it to Verrett. So Peterson goes 0 for 3 as he grounds out.
Number 17.
Dodgers had a leadoff hit by Kike Hernandez in the first inning. They got another hit, a leadoff single by Ellis in the 5th. And that's it. A.J. Ellis flied to right, single to left. Out on deck, should Ellis extend the inning, Andre Ethier would bat for Juan Nicasio. So DeGrom, Neeson, Colon, Syndergaard, Harvey, and Matz. A 6-man staff for the Mets. 0-2. So Ellis strikes out. That's 2 strikeouts for Verrett. 10 Dodgers have struck out. And at the end of 7, it's 7-0 New York. back and known as a poor hitting team. It's the Mets who have done it all today. They have 7 runs, 12 hits. They have piled up the 7 runs with 3 runs in the 4th inning, had another 3-run inning in the 7th after getting the lead in the 1st inning. Everybody in the lineup has had some fun except Kadaya and Duda. Steven Matz did exactly what we had heard about him. 8 strikeouts, just 2 hits. He got an RBI to give him 5 in his young major league career. So the Mets are playing well at the Dodgers' expense. And of course the Dodgers hoping the Mets will continue to play well because they'll be leaving here to go to San Francisco. Phillies coming in tomorrow night. Daniel Coulombe, who's been up and down, will come up now and do a little pitching in the 8th inning. He'll be facing Murphy, Duda, and Flores. Yasmani Grandal is playing first base. Scott Van Slyke taken out of the lineup. So you can put the pitcher Coulombe in Van Slyke's spot and put Grandal batting 9th in the pitcher spot. Ball 1. Daniel Murphy, single to center, single to right. Walked intentionally to load the bases and hit by a pitch in the 6th inning. And at least watching his body reaction, I guessed he was annoyed that it was a payback hit by pitch since Adrian Gonzalez had been hit in the 1st inning. It's only a guess. But sitting up here watching so many games, seeing reactions and trying to think like the player, it would be logical that Daniel was a little annoyed that he was the guy. 1 ball and 1 strike. And a flare to shallow center. Peterson will have to play it on a bounce. So Daniel Murphy might have been annoyed about getting hit by the pitch, but he's having a big day. 3 hits and a walk. Now, talking about a big day, you would describe this as a minute day for Lucas Duda. Before 40,027, the big first baseman, who I'm sure has a lot of friends here, went to school at USC, but he lined out and then struck out 3 times. Ball 1. Duda hit a line drive right on the button, but it was right at Howie Kendrick in the 1st inning. Duda has struck out 84 times this year. 2-0. Daniel Coulombe. Bolsinger, Howell, Nicasio, and now Daniel. Fastball. Nice plug up, and Kendrick goes and gets the front man. Wow. The throw in and out of the dugout, so Duda will go to second. What a wonderful play that was. Instead of taking the easy out, you're down 7-0. Kendrick still got the front man, Daniel Murphy. Almost fell down, off balance, and got the ball to second. Hernandez throws to first, trying not to hit the runner, Murphy, who came in standing up. And avoiding Murphy, he throws the ball away at first base. So that was kind of a nice play by Kike Hernandez and a very dangerous bit of base running by Daniel Murphy. Fielder's choice, error 6, and a fine play by Kendrick. Ball 1. One ball and no strikes. Paid attendance will repeat for those who like to know the exact number. 40,027. Been a big series. 2 games well over 50,000. And a line drive down the left field line, just inside the chalk. Run will score. Flores comes up with his 4th hit, and it is 8-0 New York. One more run, the Dodgers could have spent the day at the beach. So Colon is touched up, and for Flores, he has 2 doubles, 2 singles, and having a huge day. 8 runs, 14 hits for the Mets. Fly ball into right center. Here comes Puig. By the way, they're starting. I'm sure the Mets are starting to look at Steven Matz as if to say, he's not only good, he makes us fortunate. Before Matz's first start, the Mets scored 0, 1, 1, 4, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. Matz made his first start. The Mets scored 7 against Cincinnati. And then before his second start, the Mets went 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. And today, his second start, they've scored 8 runs. So Steven Matz lifting the Mets in many ways. And they're enjoying an 8-0 outing here at Dodger Stadium. Remember, the Dodgers had beaten them 10 of 14 since back in 2013. Two and 0 the count. Johnny Manel, the catcher, flied to left, single to center, grounded to third, and walked. He has scored twice. 1 for 3. On deck, Ruben Tejada. Fouled away. Shows you the baseball fortunes. The last series the Mets played against the Dodgers here last year, Lucas Duda hit 3 home runs in the 3-game series. All 3 in 1 game. In this series, Duda really shut down, and yet, with the big first baseman drawing blanks today, the Mets have scored 8. 3-1 the count to Johnny Manel. Whoop. So ball 4, and the batter Ruben Tejada.
Shortstop number 11, Ruben Tejada.
Ruben Tejada flied to right, single to right, struck out, single to right again. 2 for 4. Scored twice, knocked in 1. Hitting .233. Fastball, whack, foul. 0-1 to Tejada. Tejada's from Panama. Not too many players from that small country. Another foul ball, 0-2 the count. Ruben is an even 6-footer, 185, 25 years old. He'd be 26 in September. Signed as a free agent by the Mets back in 2006. in the dirt. Nice block by A.J. Ellis. The Mets are playing their 83rd game, and Tejada is playing in his 50th. One ball and two strikes. You have two on. And that's going to go through to the hole. They will load up the bases. They're not going to try to force anything. So the bases are loaded against Daniel Coulombe. And the batter would be the pitcher spot, and that's Logan Verrett. So Tejada having a big game. He has 3 hits. So 2 down, bases loaded, 8-0 Mets. They have 15 hits. So this has been a feast day today for New York. Little roller, the throw is just in time. So mercifully, the Dodgers come up with the last out. The Mets still get 1, leave 3, and we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. It's 8-0 Mets. The arrival of the Philadelphia Phillies, and the first pitcher they see will be Sean O'Sullivan, Begara, with a record of 1-6 and an ERA of almost 6. So he might be welcomed with open arms. The Dodgers, however, TBD, to be determined. And obviously with Carlos Frias unable to pitch, it looks like the Dodgers will have to dip into the minor leagues again. And then Tuesday night, Chad Billingsley, the former Dodger, will be on the mound for the Phils. Meanwhile, Logan Verrett picking up for Steven Matz. The Mets, by the way, almost to a season high. They had 16 hits against Milwaukee way back in May when they pounded the Brewers 14-1. Well, they have 15 hits and 8 runs today. So Yasmani Grandal, who came in to play first when Coulombe came in to do a little pitching. So the Dodgers using 3 first basemen today. Adrian Gonzalez hit on the hand, right hand. Then Van Slyke, and now Yasmani. Grandal, a serious contributor to the Dodgers. Yasmani hitting .273, 12 home runs, 31 runs batted in. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the New York Mets on their way to winning a road series for the first time since early in May. High fly ball to left center, but moving over is Lagares. So Grandal, 1 out. For the Dodgers, they are going peacefully now. You had Ellis open up the 5th inning with a single. Now in the 5th inning, it was still a game. It was 4-0 in favor of the Mets. And since Ellis singled, it's 3, 6, 9, 10 in a row retired. And the batter is Kike Hernandez, singled and then struck out twice. Big chopper to third, big hop. Murphy stays with it. 2 down. That's 11 in a row.
Second baseman number 47, Howie Kendrick.
So for the Dodgers, sizzle last night, fizzle today, and that'll be the end of the July 4th weekend. Howie Kendrick struck out, grounded out, and fouled out to right field. Strike. As we mentioned, with those 6 starting pitchers, if the Mets had an offense, not like today, you wouldn't expect that, but if they had any kind of an offense, they could very well catch the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are not running away. They're 9 games above 500. But should the Giants nail the Nationals tonight, the Mets would be 3.5 back. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Remember the early Mets. That was the team in April that won 11 in a row. Two balls and 2 strikes. The Miracle Mets. That was the 1969 team, managed by Gil Hodges. Beat Baltimore in 5 games. Long fly ball. Lagares to the track at the wall and makes it look easy. So Kendrick, a long out to go 0 for 4. 12 in a row retired. And at the end of 8, 8-0, Ocho, New York. Download MLB.com Home Run Derby free on the App Store and Google Play. Well, if you are interested in politics worldwide, there was a most important vote today in Greece. And the last we have heard, and it comes to us through a lot of different people, but the last we heard, The Greek vote went for no. In other words, the European Union offering a deal with Greece. Greece would have to cut the pensions and raise taxes. And the people said, no, we're fed up with that. The Prime Minister, Tsipras, was going around the country saying, vote no, vote no. Now the question is, since they voted no, will they drop out of the European Union? Will they go no longer for the euro, but for the drachma? Now, that was a huge vote. The impact, well, we'll have to wait and see about the stock market on Monday. You would expect it to shudder a little bit. We'll see. So the Greeks vote no. You get an idea. It's 8-0 Mets when I'm talking about the Greeks. 3-1 the count to Juan Lagares. He has a single and a Sun triple on the ball that plagued Yasiel Puig in the 7th inning. Mets have had 2 3-run innings today. 8 runs, 15 hits. Dodgers no runs, 2 hits, 1 error. Joel Peralta, who's been out for so long with a nerve issue, warming up in the Dodger bullpen. 3-2 to Lagares. And a fly ball. Peterson on the run, telling Puig stay away. You can see him. He wasn't just calling. He had that left arm extended, telling Puig, please. So 1 away.
Number 3, Curtis Granderson.
You know, it's human nature. There's the M. Please don't come near me. And, you know, psychologically, you know what Peterson's thinking. The last ball hit to the gap. Puig had a bad time on the fly ball. He wants to make a catch. But I don't want to get killed while he wants to make the catch. So that's why he had the hand out, please. Little ground ball. Nice pick by Grandal. 2 down in the 9th inning. And the batter, Daniel Murphy.
Number 28, Daniel Murphy.
Murphy single to center, single to right, walked intentionally, hit by a pitch, and singled again. So Murph having a perfect 3 for 3 day, hitting .288. Fastball hit at Kendrick. So Murphy lines out. The Mets, for the first time in a while, they went out in order way back in the 2nd inning. And then since then, they've had themselves a time, and we're heading for the bottom of the 9th, 8-0 New York. An ace today, and the ace held up. That would be our player of the game, Steven Matz, a young man out of Long Island who had beaten Cincinnati in his major league debut. Came back today to shut out the Dodgers for 6 innings, allowing 2 hits, struck out 8. Hit 8th in the lineup. He did go 0 for 3, but that was the only sour note for him. So Matz will be 2-0, and as we mentioned earlier, the Mets have the happy faculty of scoring runs when Matz pitches. So it'll be interesting to see what he does his next time out and how well he inspires his club offensively. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have Turner, Guerrero, and Puig. 9th inning, 8-0 New York. Justin Turner struck out, grounded to short, fly to center, 0 for 3. So the Mets are 3 outs away for winning their first road series since they took 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia from May 8th, 9th, and 10th. And that's going to go into left field for a base hit. So Turner goes 1 for 4. And the crowd a sarcastic cheer because the Dodgers have gone down in order 12 in a row since Ellis singled in the 5th inning. Alex Guerrero had to come into the game after Adrian Gonzalez hit on the hand. Gonzalez batted for him in the 4th, struck out against Matz, and flied to center against Matz. Foul ball. Oh and 1. Guerrero 10 home runs, 30 runs batted in. For the Dodgers, Bolsinger, Howell, Nicasio, Coulombe. For the Mets, Matz and Verrett. No balls, 1 strike. Fastball, chopper to third. They will get a force. They'll be late at first. So the force play, 1 out, 9th inning. Yasiel Puig coming up. Puig is 0 for 3. Hit into a force play. Flied to right and struck out. Dodgers have 3 hits. Hernandez singled in the bottom of the 1st inning. Turner just picked up a base hit here in the 9th. And back in the 5th inning, A.J. Ellis had a single. That's it. Dodgers have gotten 2 men to second base. Hernandez got to second after a base hit. Gonzalez hit by the pitch. Van Slyke, after a walk, got to second on a stolen base. Otherwise, there has been no offense. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Eight runs, 15 hits. No errors for the Mets. No home runs. They've had a bunch of doubles and a triple. And the Dodgers just 3 harmless singles. Murmurs of protest at best. Two and 2. Big breaking ball in the dirt. Two balls, 2 strikes. High slicing fly ball. It's going to go foul and will wind up back in the stands. Tomorrow night the Phillies will be here. Sean O'Sullivan on the mound for Philadelphia. Pete Mackanin is the interim manager. Ryan Sandberg had enough. Phillies have won 27 games. That's going to go foul ball. So Puig will have to come back and try it again. Phillies are 27-56. They are 19 games behind Washington. The Phillies have lost 6 in a row. They have lost 9 of the last 10. Dodgers will send cars to the airport, but we'll see how it works out when they get here. All right, Puig back up. I think somebody hollering out of the Dodger dugout thinking that was a fair ball, and they're on the phone looking at the video. Mattingly on the steps, plate umpire Alfonso Marquez walking over. And despite the fact you have 1 out in the ninth, trailing 8-0, the Dodgers are going to appeal the play. We can take a look. Awfully close from that angle. What do you think? Wow. If that wasn't on the chalk, it had to miss by a micro inch. So you either have a runner at first, 1 out, and Puig hitting, or you'd assume that'd be a double, and the Dodgers would have runners at second and third. No matter the score, the whole job is to get it right. Remember, those are misnomers. We've said it a couple of times. You call them foul lines, but they're fair. For Yasiel Puig, it's bread and butter. He's 0 for 3 today. They are going to call it foul ball. Yep. On deck, Andre Ethier. He would bat for Cologne. By the way, the Dodgers being shut out at home. Remember, this is a team that has hit 104 home runs. The last time the Dodgers shut at home was August of last year. Boy, that was a poor swing. Yasiel Puig obviously upset. Down he goes. And here comes Ethier. So the last time the Dodgers were shut out at home, August the 4th last year, Garrett Richards of the Angels shut him out. There have been 8 other shutouts at Dodger Stadium this year, all by the Dodgers. So this is a rare day in July. For the Dodgers, that is the 3rd strikeout racked up by Verrett. So that means 11 Dodgers have struck out during this shutout. So Ethier with his foot in the door. Guerrero at second base. 1 ball and no strikes to Andre. Fastball on the outside corner. 1-1. So Logan Verrett asked to pitch the last 3 innings, and he's been brilliant. He's allowed 1 hit. He has struck out 3. Andre hitting .271. Fouled away, 1-2. So we're looking at big stories today. The Greeks said no. The ladies have just begun playing Japan, and the Dodgers are down to their last out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Still 1-2. 40,027 out here today. The end of a long, noisy, and wonderful holiday weekend. Hope you had a great time. Maybe you spent a little time with us out here. And we look forward to seeing you during the week. One ball and 2 strikes. Whoa. 2-2. If you're watching this game and you're not at home and you're planning to drive to get home, we certainly send along our prayers for a safe trip and a warning to be so very careful. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Foul back. Game started at 1:10. So we're hanging around the neighborhood of a 3-hour game. For the Dodgers, probably seemed like an 8-hour game. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Guerrero at second, and Barrett trying to finish off the Dodgers. High pop fly, backing out is Flores, fighting the sun, and makes the catch. So the Dodgers, for the first time since August of last year, are shut out at home. They wind up losing 8-0. 8 runs, 15 hits for the Mets. No runs, 3 hits, and an error for the Dodgers. The winning pitcher, Steven Matz. The loser, Mike Bolsinger. And it's Philadelphia tomorrow night. Till then, from all of us to all of you, a very pleasant good afternoon, everybody.